The classroom buzzed softly with the sound of pen tapping and hushed conversations. Students sat scattered across the room, waiting for the professor who was, as usual, running a few minutes late. Your books lay open in front of you, a pen resting between your fingers, but despite everything on your desk begging for attention, your focus was anywhere but on your studies. You sighed again, your fingers gripping the edge of your notebook. You could feel Jungkook beside you, closer than necessary, his presence pressing in on you like warm sunlight. You couldn't escape, not that you really wanted to, but it was hard to focus when your best friend was acting like a 5-year-old with too much sugar. He was gently playing with a strand of your hair, twirling it between his fingers absent-mindedly. His knee bumped yours now and then, and his voice had been non-stop for the past 10 minutes. Yin, Jungkook, come on, you muttered under your breath, eyes flicking to the door. Shut up already, the professor's going to be here any second. At your words, Jungkook pouted dramatically, his lips falling into a fake frown as he placed a hand over his heart like you had just wounded him. Jungkook, I'm just telling you about what happened in basketball yesterday, he mumbled, the offense thick in his voice, but even as he pouted, his fingers didn't stop playing, this time moving from your hair to your sleeve, pinching and rolling the fabric between his fingers with soft focus. You turned to glare at him. Yin, you've told me that 5 times already. Jungkook, well, yeah, but you weren't listening properly, he said like a guilty child, his wide eyes scanning your face for any softness. You sighed again and sat up straighter, turning fully to face him. He looked too cute for his own good, but you needed to make a point. Yin, okay, fine, have you even finished the assignment due today? He blinked, his mouth opened, then closed again. Jungkook, I forgot. You crossed your arms. Yin, exactly. And have you even started preparing for the test on Monday? He blinked. His expression made it clear he forgot that existed too. Yin, did you copy the notes I told you to last week? Jungkook, I was gonna. He mumbled, already sounding defeated. You leaned in slightly, your tone firmer now. Yin, then don't talk to me until you've done all that. Got it? You turned back toward your books, your expression cold, but inside you were barely holding back a smirk. Jungkook sat frozen for a few seconds, absolutely crushed. Then, slowly and dramatically, he slumped in his seat like his soul had left his body. Jungkook, you're so heartless, he muttered, just loud enough for you to hear. He reached out to grab your sleeve again, but you pulled it away. That didn't stop him. His hand simply moved to the end of your ponytail, gently tugging it like a child seeking attention. Jungkook, how can you do this to me? He whined. It'll take me days. Are you really not going to talk to me until then? Then he leaned into you again, resting his head on your shoulder like a sulking child. His arm sneaked around your elbow and clung there as if you were his lifeline. You tried to stay serious, but your heart was already fluttering. Jungkook, please don't ignore me. I promise I'll do it, everything. When you didn't respond, he let out an exaggerated groan and leaned closer, too close, trying to nuzzle your shoulder. He even pretended to bite it playfully, which made your body jolt in surprise. Yin, stop it. Jungkook, you said, your voice cracking slightly as a laugh threatened to escape. You always did this. You set little rules just to push him, to see this playful, pleading side of him, because deep down, this was your favorite version of Jungkook, sweet, desperate for your attention, always clinging, always near. It was almost like you were already together. But across the room, someone was watching. Sitting 2 rows back, James gripped his pen so tightly the plastic cracked slightly under the pressure. His eyes were locked on you and Jungkook, unmoving, sharp, and dark. Just a few weeks ago, he had gathered the courage to confess to you. He'd bought flowers and smiled as he approached you outside the library. But you had turned him down. I'm not looking for a relationship right now, you had said. I'm just too busy. I'm sorry. He had believed you. He wanted to believe you. But now, watching Jungkook stroke your hair, nuzzle into your neck, whisper softly into your ear while you let him, James's expression twisted. His pride cracked like glass under pressure. You weren't too busy. You just weren't interested in him. And what stung even more, it wasn't just anyone you liked. It was Jungkook. Jungkook, the boy James despised the most. The one who always had everything come easy to him. Friends, attention, admiration. And now, you too. James's stare was no longer curious. It was venomous, cold, calculating. His lips curled into the faintest smirk, but there was no warmth in it, only a quiet rage boiling beneath the surface. His mind raced with cruel thoughts. He didn't want Jungkook's blood. He wanted you to feel humiliated for rejecting him. He wanted you to pay for choosing the man he hated most. His thoughts turned dark: revenge, manipulation, exposure, anything to make you regret the moment you said no. But for now, he watched, and you, still unaware of the fire starting across the room, giggled as Jungkook whispered something silly again. You looked at him, your eyes soft, your smile playful. You had no idea what was coming. Last lecture of the day has already ended, and the weight of exhaustion was visible on everyone's face. You felt it too, the way your shoulders slumped and your brain begged for rest. The whole day had been packed with back-to-back lectures, assignments, and questions thrown your way by both professors and classmates. But as always, Jungkook had energy to spare. While you were still gathering your books and shoving your folders into your locker, he had already run off for basketball practice, flashing you that same playful grin he always did before leaving. Come to the court once you're done talking to your friends, he had said, ruffling your hair before disappearing down the hallway. You liked the way he always looked back to wave, even if you didn't always wave back. Now, with your bag zipped and slung over your shoulder, you opened your phone and typed out a quick text to him. Too tired to wait, heading home today, okay? Text me once you're done. You hit send and quickly checked the time. Yin. Oh god. Your eyes widened. If you didn't leave soon, you'd miss your bus. Usually, you went home with Jungkook, but with his practice running late and your legs already sore, you had no choice. You slammed your locker shut and turned around, only to feel a tap on your shoulder. Startled, you glanced back to see a guy you didn't recognize. He wasn't from your class, maybe not even your year. His expression was unreadable, as if he were just doing a chore he didn't want to do. Hey, someone asked me to tell Yin that Professor Han wants to see her in his cabin. I don't know who she is, but they said she was just near the science hall, so I figured maybe it's you. Before you could even ask anything, he gave a small shrug and walked away. You blinked. That was random, but it didn't seem suspicious at the time. Professor Han had asked you earlier to hold onto his attendance register and return it by the end of the day. Maybe he needed it for grading or forgot to note something. Yin probably just needs today's list, you muttered to yourself. You still had some time before the bus. If you were quick, you could just drop off the register and make it. So, without thinking much, you headed toward the old faculty wing on the upper floor. You passed the newer classrooms, still somewhat lively, until the noise behind you began to fade. The corridor ahead was dimmer, less used, fewer lights, older doors. You knew Professor Han's office was located at the far end, close to a row of lecture halls that hadn't been in use for months. They were under renovation last semester, but were now abandoned completely. Everyone knew they lacked proper security, no CCTV, barely any lighting, and never any staff nearby. Most students were told to avoid them, and Professor Han's cabin will also shift soon. But at that moment, you weren't thinking about warnings or rumors. You just wanted to do what was asked and go home. As you neared Professor Han's office, you peeked through the narrow glass pane. On his door, the lights were off. The desk was empty. You frowned. Yin, he's not here. You stood there, waiting, hoping he'd appear from somewhere nearby. He was known to roam the halls when he needed quiet or solitude, and maybe he'd stepped away to grab something from another room. The boy who had delivered the message seemed confident. You turned your head, glancing down the hallway. It was quiet, too quiet, but logic told you he might just be in the staff lounge or the storage room across the hall. You tightened your grip on the register and stepped forward. Just hand it to him and leave, you reminded yourself. You passed Professor Han's door and took a left, walking further into the older corridor. The air was slightly cooler here, the kind of cold that settled in when buildings hadn't been used in a while. Dust hung in the corners, and the once bright walls were faded with time. You didn't realize it yet, but you were slowly walking into a blind spot, a space with no witnesses, no sound, no safety, and whatever was waiting at the end of this hallway wasn't Professor Han. You froze in place, feeling a chill crawl up your spine. That was enough. If Professor Han wasn't here, you had no reason to go any further. You turned around to leave, your shoes tapping softly against the old hallway floor, but the moment your eyes caught the figure standing behind you, your breath caught in your throat, your heart dropped. The file you were holding slipped from your hand and hit the ground with a soft thud. You flinched. Yin, oh, hi James, you stuttered, bending down to grab the fallen file quickly. What are you doing here? Well, have you seen Professor Han anywhere nearby? You looked up, expecting a normal response, But what you saw instead sent another wave of unease through your body. James was smirking, a deep, dark smirk that didn't reach his eyes. It was unsettling. He leaned closer. James, you look so damn good when you're scared, Yin. You blinked hard, choosing to ignore the filthy comment. Yin, I think I should go, you said quickly, stepping to the side. But before you could take a step, his hand shot out and gripped your wrist tightly, too tightly. Pain shot through your arm. Yin, what do you want? You asked, your voice panicked. He leaned closer, the smirk on his face deepening into something far more cruel. James, Yin, I want you. Yin, are you insane? Let go of me, you screamed, your voice echoing down the empty hallway. But there was no answer, no footsteps, no voices, no hope. James laughed, low and taunting. James, such a sweet little rat, so easy to corner. Yin, you tricked me, you shouted, your wrist still in his vice grip. His face darkened further as he twisted your wrist, making you cry out in pain. James, tricked you. You led me on. You think I didn't see the way you cling to Jungkook. You rejected me because of him. He dragged you roughly toward one of the empty classrooms. You struggled, kicked, screamed, but his grip was too strong. Yin, James, stop it. Please, let me go. Why are you doing this? James, you should have just said yes when I proposed to you. Instead, you embarrassed me. You made me feel like nothing. And now you'll understand what that feels like. He slammed the door behind you. Inside the room, he shoved you hard and you fell onto the cold, dusty floor. The impact sent a bolt of pain through your ankle. Your bag dropped beside you, the water bottle already leaking. But he didn't care. He stood over you, eyes filled with twisted anger. James, you think you're too good for me. I could have treated you better than him. You'll see that now, he hissed, already unbuttoning his shirt. The sight made your stomach twist in horror. Yin, no, James, please. Please don't do this, you begged, your voice cracking. James, you can scream, he said, laughing. There's no one here, no cameras, no help. Scream all you want. Your voice broke. Yin, I swear I'll report you. I'll go to the police. James, do it, he said coldly, but only after I make you pay. Your breath hitched. He lunged, grabbing both your wrists and trying to pin them to the floor. Your body was frozen in terror, your tears spilling freely. You struggled, kicked, but he was heavier, stronger. You couldn't breathe, you couldn't move. His hand slid down your shoulder, until something happened. His bracelet caught on your sleeve and ripped the fabric straight to your collarbone. You heard the tear, your eyes went wide. He laughed like a madman. James, purple suits you, darling. That was it. Something inside you snapped. A surge of anger and survival flared in your chest. With every ounce of strength you had left, your eyes landed on your leaking water bottle beside your bag. You snatched it up and slammed it hard against his head. He cried out and reeled back, clutching his temple in pain. You didn't stop there. You hit him again, then again, this time in the knee. He screamed louder, giving you enough time to scramble to your feet and grab your bag. Yin, you shouted, breathless, tears streaming down your cheeks, and then you ran. You didn't stop to think. You didn't turn around. You ran, ignoring the sharp pain in your ankle, your hair sticking to your tear-stained cheeks. You didn't even scream anymore. Your throat burned too much to let out sound. You ran through the corridors, down the stairs, bursting out of the university doors and onto the main road. You held your bag tightly to your chest, trying to cover the ripped fabric of your shirt. You held your bag tightly to your chest, trying to cover the ripped fabric of your shirt. Your legs ached, your lungs burned, whole body was soaked in sweat and tears. And just when you thought you couldn't take another step, you saw it, your bus. It had just arrived. You practically jumped onto it, stumbling to the nearest seat. You curled into yourself, ignoring the few curious eyes around you. You couldn't talk. You couldn't even cry anymore. You were just shaking violently. Your heart was still pounding, your body sore, your soul rattled, and all you could do was pray that he never touched you again, that someone, anyone, would help you, that this nightmare wouldn't follow you home. The sun had dipped low, casting orange streaks across the city as Jungkook drove towards your house. The music was off, his thoughts too loud for any background noise to compete. Even after reading your text that you were tired and heading home, he couldn't shake the feeling, so he came anyway, just to make sure. His hand hovered near the gearshift, ready to take the turn onto your street, only walking distance left now, when he suddenly slammed the brakes. His breath hitched, just ahead, Near the old bus stand, under a weak flickering streetlight, someone was curled up on the edge of the pavement, small, still, trembling. And then he saw the color of the shirt, the familiar backpack hugged tight to the chest. Jungkook, Yin, he whispered, disbelief and panic twisting in his gut. He shoved the car door open without fully parking and sprinted across the road, not caring that the engine was still running. Jungkook, Yin, you heard him. Your body flinched as your eyes finally looked up. There he was, Jungkook, your person, your safest place. Your breath caught in your throat, more tear slipping down your cheek just as your lips parted. Yin, Jungkook, that one name, spoken so brokenly, shattered him. You slowly stood up on your one leg, the other one still shaking because of the sprain, and raised your arms wordlessly. You didn't need to say anything. He already knew. You needed him. He reached you in one stride, wrapping his arms around your waist, crushing you into his chest like he was scared you'd disappear if he let go. You sobbed into him, your fingers gripping the back of his shirt, digging into him as if to bring yourself back in reality. His heart raced against yours. His hands ran up and down your back, one settling at your waist, the other cradling the back of your head. You were shaking so hard he could barely hold still. Jungkook's eyes were wide, completely filled with panic, confusion, and fear, his hands instantly reaching out to rub your arms, then your back, gently trying to calm you. But you were sobbing so hard it felt like your lungs were giving out. Jungkook, Yin, what happened? His voice cracked, trying to remain steady for your sake. Why are you crying like this, sitting here all alone? Jungkook, did you fight with your mom? Something happened at home? Talk to me, please. You weakly shook your head against his shoulder, unable to speak, and then your body broke. Your sobs became louder, deeper, messier. It hit Jungkook like a wave straight to the chest. His entire body stiffened as you cried into him, your fists clinging to his shirt like a lifeline. It was too much. The fear, the shame, the pain, all of it. You sobbed his name through your tears. Jungkook, hearing you like that shattered him. He rocked you slightly, whispering over and over again, Jungkook, shh, I'm here. I'm not leaving you, baby. I'm right here. What happened to you? Tell me, he asked again, his voice barely a whisper now, raw with fear. Please, tell me, you're scaring me. Slowly, he pulled back just enough to see your face. And what he saw crushed him. Your eyes were red and puffy, lips swollen from crying, cheeks stained with dried and fresh tears. You looked like you had been breaking for hours, like something inside you had cracked wide open. He cupped your face, wiping your tears softly with his thumbs, brushing your hair back from your forehead with trembling fingers. He was breathing harder now, his jaw tightening from the helplessness crawling through him. Jungkook, it's okay, he whispered shakily, trying to calm you. Cry as much as you need. I'm right here. I won't go anywhere. But then he saw it. His breath hitched in his throat. He stopped moving. His eyes dropped lower and locked on the tear in your shirt, just along your collarbone. It was small but enough to expose the top of your bra. And that was all it took. His whole body went rigid. His blood ran cold. His heart stopped beating. The comforting warmth in his expression drained within seconds. His fingers, once so gentle, now trembled against your skin. His breath became shallow, controlled, like he was trying not to lose himself. And then he realized what it meant. That shirt wasn't like that when he saw you last. No. His gaze snapped back up to your face. He didn't want to believe it. He wanted you to tell him he was wrong, that it was nothing. But the way your body curled tighter, the way your eyes avoided his, the way you couldn't even speak, it told him everything. But he knew, he already knew. There was no other reason for you to be crying like this, broken like this, hiding yourself like this, unless something unforgivable had happened. He clenched his jaw, swallowing hard, his voice low, trembling, but deadly calm. Jungkook, Yin, he whispered, struggling to hold in the rage that was building inside his chest. Who did this to you? The question hung in the air, cold and sharp, and you looked back at him, your face still wet with tears. But this time, there was something else in your eyes, a silent plea, a quiet scream for help. Your voice trembled as you leaned into Jungkook's chest, trying to form the words, Yin, I was going to Mr. Han's cabin. You finally managed. Your voice trembling like a fragile thread, about to snap. You hiccuped between sobs, trying to explain what had happened. But James, your voice cracked. Just saying his name made your stomach churn and your chest tighten. You couldn't finish the sentence. You couldn't say what he did, not out loud. The memory itself was already too much to carry. Jungkook's body stiffened. His whole frame went still as stone. His jaw clenched tightly as if he had to physically stop himself from reacting, from exploding. His breath came out slow and heavy, his head tilting back slightly as he tried to force control back into his lungs. But all he did was pull you closer. Yin, he dragged me to a classroom and, you choked out. But then the words dissolved into a sob. It ripped out of you, so raw and real it made your own chest hurt. Jungkook, hey Yin, Jungkook whispered, his voice low and trembling, one hand softly cradling the back of your head. Breathe, sweetheart, please, just breathe for me, okay? You gripped his shirt, your fingers shaking. You buried your face deeper into the space between his neck and shoulder, as if hiding there might undo everything that had just happened. I know it's not okay, I know, but I'm here now. I'm so sorry you had to go through that, he murmured, voice thick with pain. Jungkook, if I had known, I swear to you, I would have never let you be alone. I would have buried that man alive. His fingers moved gently along your scalp, brushing your hair back as he tucked your head under his chin. You didn't say anything further. You couldn't. You just let him hold you. Jungkook, come on, Jungkook murmured, pulling you up with him. Let's go home. Try not to think about it now, okay? I'm here. I'll take care of everything. But when he tried to lead you toward the car, you stopped suddenly. Your grip on his shirt tightened, and you shook your head quickly. Yin, I can't go home like this, you whispered, eyes filled with fresh panic. Mom will worry. I don't want her to see me like this. Jungkook's heart sank. He looked down at you and nodded gently, brushing your hair behind your ear. Jungkook, all right, he said. Come with me then. We'll go to my place. Just you and me, okay? No one else has to see anything. No one will bother you there. You nodded weakly, and he helped you move. But the moment your other foot touched the ground, you let out a sharp gasp, stumbling a little. Jungkook caught you instantly, his arms already wrapped back around your waist. Jungkook, what happened? He asked, worriedly scanning your body for the source of pain. And then he saw it. Your ankle, visibly swollen, the skin slightly red and stretched. His heart dropped to his stomach. He knelt down slowly, his face crumpling in heartbreak and rage as he gently touched your ankle, trying not to hurt you more. His fingers trembled. His chest was rising and falling quicker now, fury barely contained in his breath. Jungkook, you didn't deserve this, he whispered, mostly to himself. God Yin. Then, without another word, he scooped you up into his arms. Hold on to me, he murmured, and you did, tightly. You buried your face in the crook of his neck, your arms around his shoulders as he carried you to the car. His hold was strong and steady, but you could feel it. His heart was pounding. For the first time in hours, you felt a tiny bit of safety return to you, warmth that only Jungkook could give. He carried you to his car and carefully opened the door before lowering you into the passenger seat. He crouched beside you and softly pushed your jeans up, inspecting your ankle with careful eyes. You watched him, still sniffling, your hand resting weakly in your lap. Jungkook, it's not too bad, he said with a reassuring smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. He was trying to make you feel safe, even though he was clearly spiraling inside. You knew him too well not to notice it. You bit your lip and swallowed hard. You didn't want to hide anything from him. Yin, it got sprained when he pushed me, and then I ran, and it got worse. Jungkook didn't say a word, but the tension in his body told you how much that sentence broke him. His jaw clenched so tightly, you could see the veins pop along his neck. His grip on the denim of your jeans tightened just a bit, and he looked like he wanted to scream. He looked like he was on the edge of snapping. But then, he leaned forward, cupped your foot in his hand, and pressed a soft kiss right on the injured spot, a silent promise. Jungkook, I'll fix everything, he said quietly, his lips still near your skin. You don't have to worry about anything now. I've got you, Yin. Then he reached into the back of the car, pulled out a small first aid kit and a cold spray, and began gently tending to your ankle. His touch was precise, patient. He was trying so hard to hold himself together for you. And in that moment, with your face tear-streaked and your body aching, you realized something. You were safe now, not because everything was okay, but because Jungkook was here, and he would burn the world down before he let anyone hurt you again. You sat at the edge of Jungkook's bed, the room dim and still. The soft light of the bedside lamp cast a golden glow across your face, highlighting the dullness in your eyes. You hadn't said much since he brought you home. Your clothes were still the same from earlier, your shirt slightly torn near the collar, your jeans damp near the ankles, your hair messy from stress and crying. You didn't even care to fix it. And Jungkook, he was moving around the room with quiet urgency. He didn't ask questions. He didn't force you to speak. Instead, he focused on small things that could make you feel a little better. He fetched his softest oversized t-shirt and sweatpants, warmed water in the bathroom, laid towels out, and even placed a lavender-scented candle on the sink. He was trying to bring some comfort into a night that had completely shattered you. When he returned, he walked over to you slowly, not wanting to startle you. Then he lowered himself to the floor and sat near your legs, carefully, with eyes full of unspoken care. He lifted your injured foot and placed it on his thigh. Jungkook, I'll just massage you a little, he whispered. It'll help with the pain. His voice was warm and steady, even though his heart was anything but. His thumb moved gently in circles over your ankle, the skin still slightly swollen. He wasn't rushing, he wasn't talking, just soothing. His hands were warm, and his touch was so gentle it almost brought tears to your eyes again. But when he glanced up at your face, his chest tightened. You weren't looking at him. Your eyes were fixed on the floor, blank and lifeless, like your soul had left your body and only the shell remained. You were zoned out, lost in the haze of what had happened. It broke him. He hesitated for a second, then let his hand move a little higher, slowly massaging your calf in slow, upward strokes. Jungkook, Yin, he called softly, just under his breath. Look at me. You blinked, slowly, and your eyes met his. Your expression was unreadable. No tears, no frown, no fear, just emptiness. His heart cracked right there. He looked away for a second, his jaw clenched, trying to hold in the pain. He wanted to cry for you, scream for you, destroy everything that had hurt you, but all he could do right now was be gentle, calm, safe. Jungkook, let's get you in a warm bath, he said softly, brushing a strand of hair behind your ear. He leaned down, wrapped your ankle gently with a soft elastic bandage, making sure not to cause you any more pain. You didn't flinch. You didn't even move. Without another word, Jungkook slowly stood and leaned down to you again. His arms slid beneath your body carefully, one behind your knees, the other around your back. Then, with a slow breath, he lifted you into his arms. You gasped softly, instinctively tensing. But when you realized it was him, your Jungkook, you let your weight sink into his embrace. You buried your face against his chest, your hands curling into the fabric of his t-shirt, clinging to him like your life depended on it. He held you tightly, so tightly you felt like the world couldn't touch you anymore. His heartbeat thudded in your ear, calm and steady. He walked slowly toward the bathroom, careful not to jostle your injured foot. Jungkook gently placed you on the bathroom counter, your skin still slightly cold from outside. The cool marble beneath you sent a shiver through your spine, but his warmth, his hands around your waist, was still close. He stepped in between your knees, his chest rising slowly with a deep breath. He leaned forward and placed a soft, lingering kiss on your forehead, the kind that stayed even after his lips left your skin. His hands rested on your thighs, still gentle, still waiting. Jungkook, let's get rid of this now, he said softly, his eyes glancing at your torn shirt. He didn't touch you immediately. Instead, he waited, his gaze asking for permission without words. You didn't speak. You simply raised your arms slowly, silently, and that single gesture made Jungkook's heart ache. You trusted him, even after everything, after the pain, the fear. You let him in. He let out a silent breath, nodding to himself, then stepped closer, with the gentleness of someone handling something sacred. He lifted your shirt, sliding it away from your skin with care, not rushing, not fumbling. The fabric slid past your waist, your ribs, over your head. He folded it silently and set it aside, his hands, never once touching your body inappropriately. After the shirt was off, his hands naturally moved up to your hair. He gently combed his fingers through the tangled strands, trying to soothe you, untangle your knots. But then you spoke, and your voice cracked like thin glass. Yin, I don't want to be alone. The sentence was so soft, so fragile, it nearly broke him. A single tear rolled down your cheek, followed by another. Your lips quivered, eyes still cast downward, and Jungkook, without even thinking, stepped forward and wrapped his arms around you. Shirtless or not, he didn't care. You were his priority. You melted into his chest without hesitation, clutching him tightly, burying your face against his skin as your tears soaked into his shoulder. His chin rested on your head as his arms wrapped fully around your back, one hand gently stroking the base of your spine in long, calming motions. Jungkook, "You're not alone, darling," he whispered, the endearment slipping out so naturally. "Jungkook, I'm right here. I'm always here. And from now on, I'm never going to leave you alone." You didn't answer. Not with words. You just cried harder, your shoulders shaking with every breath. Jungkook kissed the top of your head, then your temple, then softly along your cheek. He didn't care about anything else. He only cared about reminding you that you were safe, that someone was here for you, fully, completely. "Jungkook, are you comfortable?" he asked gently, remembering your state, half undressed, still trembling. You nodded into his chest without hesitation. It wasn't awkward, it wasn't weird, it was safe. A soft smile formed on his lips. He rested his cheek against your hair. "You're so strong, Yin. Do you know that? Really strong." He pulled back just slightly and looked into your eyes, still wet, still red, but filled with something new now. Trust, maybe even peace. "Jungkook, my best friend is the strongest person I know," he said with a soft laugh, brushing your hair away from your face. The word best friend made something in your chest flutter, but not in the usual way. This time, it was warm, heavy, confusing. You blinked at him, your voice trembling again as you whispered, "Yin, why are you being so gentle? It just makes me cry more." He gave a small chuckle, not because he thought it was funny, but because he understood you so deeply. "Jungkook, then cry," he said softly. "Cry as much as you need, because you deserve to be treated gently. You deserve everything gentle in this world." Your throat tightened, and you hid your face in his chest again. His arms were like a shield, like a fortress, and nothing could touch you here. "Yin, it doesn't feel like you're just my friend anymore. You could barely believe you'd said it out loud, but it was true. Everything about him, about you, about this moment, felt like it had already crossed the line. And you knew, he knew it too. Jungkook was quiet for a second, watching you with soft eyes. Then he leaned, in a little, voice deep and calm. "Jungkook, you know." Your heart picked up pace. You thought he was going to say it, the words you'd secretly dreamed of hearing. But instead, he dropped a bomb that made your stomach twist. "I know you that like me." You gasped, your face heating up instantly as you slapped his chest in panic, his broad chest flexing beneath your palm. "Yin, I don't. What are you even saying?" You stumbled over your words, feeling like your skin was on fire. Jungkook didn't flinch. Instead, he just smiled, a slow, smug curve of his lips that told you he wasn't buying your denial for even a second. He wrapped his arms tighter around your bare waist, pulling you gently against him, and without waiting, kissed your cheek softly, once, then again, and then a third time that lingered longer. "Jungkook, tell me," he whispered, his voice tickling your ear. "Who lets their best friend touch them like this, unless they feel something?" You could feel the heat pooling low in your stomach, and your words came out a little breathless. He held you tighter, and now you couldn't push him away even if you tried. Not that you wanted to. You tried to find an escape. "Yin, you're the one kissing me, okay? Well, who kisses their best friend like this? Huh? Unless he's the one who likes her." You tried to throw it back at him, thinking maybe, just maybe, he'd stammer or blush. But he didn't. He chuckled, the sound deep and warm, vibrating against your skin. His lips brushed the corner of yours as he tilted his head slightly. "Jungkook, he whispered, eyes searching yours. "Baby, what are you talking about?" Your heart sank slightly, afraid he might not mean it. But then his gaze softened, and he finally said it, gently, sincerely, like a vow. "I love you." You blinked, stunned, as if your brain stopped working the moment the words hit the air. "Jungkook, I've loved you for a long time," he said, still watching your reaction. "I love you now, and I'll always love you, and I know you do too, don't you?" His voice was so steady, so filled with certainty, that it made you want to cry, but instead, you bit your lip and smirked, teasing, because you weren't ready to let him win so easily. "Yin, well, I don't know if I do," you said with a shrug. He narrowed his eyes slightly, a soft smirk appearing on his face as if accepting your challenge. Then he leaned in and kissed your lips, softly but deeply, just once. "Jungkook, now," he whispered, pulling back with a raised eyebrow. You bit the inside of your cheek, refusing to melt just yet. You shook your head, barely holding back your smile. He tilted his head again, lips now brushing along your jaw, his kisses feather light but warm enough to send shivers down your spine. Then lower, to your neck, the touches becoming more lingering, more tingly. You closed your eyes without meaning to, your hands slowly gripping the fabric on his shoulders. Your breathing hitched as he came back up, cupping your face in his hands and kissing your lips again. this time with more pressure, more feeling. Jungkook, what about now? He murmured against your lips. You shook your head again, your voice nothing but a breath. Yin, try more, you whispered. Maybe I'll feel it then. Jungkook's stomach flipped at your teasing tone, a flutter of warmth rushing through his chest. Your teasing words, the softness in your eyes, the way you looked at him like he was everything you needed. It was real now, no more wondering, no more holding back. He was living the moment he had only dared to imagine for so long. His lips curled into a soft smile, eyes locked on yours with an expression so full of love it made your chest flutter. Jungkook, as you say, my love, he whispered. With that, he gently stepped in more between your parted legs and brought his hands upon wrapping around your waist, holding you securely, and the other cupping your cheek. You didn't pull back, you didn't hesitate, and neither did he. He leaned in and kissed you, gently at first, but it quickly deepened. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't just passion, it was everything. His lips moved on yours with so much care and intensity. You felt your breath leave your body. His hand on your back pulled you closer, and instinctively, your legs wrapped around his waist, locking him in, as if your body already knew what your heart had decided. The kiss turned desperate yet controlled, his lips tugging on your lower lip as if trying to memorize its feel. You tilted your head slightly, allowing him more space, your fingers now threading into his hair, holding him right there. The hum that escaped you when he tilted your chin deeper into the kiss made him groan softly into your mouth, a sound you would never forget. You barely realized how long the kiss lasted until your lungs reminded you to breathe. When you finally parted, foreheads resting against each other, both panting slightly, you met each other's eyes. And then, without planning it, without thinking twice, your voices overlapped in perfect harmony. I love you, Yin. I love you, Jungkook. The moment froze. You both smiled, laughter spilling softly between your lips like a secret only you two shared. Nothing existed outside this little world you had just created. You didn't wait. You leaned in again and pressed your lips to his, hungrier this time, and he welcomed it like it was the very air he needed to survive. He kissed you again, slower now, savoring every second as his thumb caressed your cheek. His chest vibrated with a soft chuckle as he pulled back only slightly. Jungkook, let me bathe with you, he whispered against your lips, almost like a request but with a gentle plea hiding behind it. Your heart fluttered violently. His words were soft, respectful, not a demand, not a tease, but something pure, intimate. You felt your cheeks warm, but when you looked into his eyes, all you saw was love, trust, safety. You nodded slowly, barely a breath escaping your lips. Yin, okay, and that was all it took. The way Jungkook's smile stretched across his face, filled with warmth and something you couldn't name, it made every part of you feel cherished. His arms never left you, and your body instinctively leaned into him as he carried you toward the bathtub, like you were weightless, like you belonged there. And for the first time in a long time, you weren't thinking about pain. You weren't thinking about what had happened earlier or what could go wrong. You were thinking about him, just him. The soft clink of the spoon tapping the edge of the bowl was the only sound in the room, aside from the gentle hum of the television. You were curled up on Jungkook's lap like a child seeking comfort, wrapped tightly in a thick blanket that carried the scent of his freshly laundered clothes, your damp hair leaving soft prints on the collar of his oversized hoodie. He had dressed you after the bath. Now, you wore his hoodie that nearly swallowed you whole and a pair of his loose cotton shorts. Jungkook sat cross-legged on the couch, his bare feet tucked underneath, your body molded into his. His hand stayed wrapped around your waist under the blanket, warm palm pressed against your lower back, occasionally rubbing slow circles. Your arms were tucked into his hoodie, one against his chest, the other resting on his ribs, and every now and then you would press your cheek tighter into him like you were checking if his heart was still beating. He held the spoon in his free hand and patiently fed you spoonful after spoonful of the soup he had made earlier. Jungkook, here, he whispered as he brought the spoon to your lips again. You leaned back only slightly to glance at it, then scrunched your nose and let out a soft whine, your voice small. Yin, it's still looking hot. His lips twitched upward at how endearingly helpless you sounded. He brought the spoon closer to his mouth and gently blew on it, eyes never leaving your face. Jungkook, okay now, he said with a smile. Open up. You opened your mouth and let him feed you before dropping your cheek back onto his chest like a sleepy kitten, a content hum escaping you. It was peaceful here. Yin, I don't want to go to college tomorrow, you mumbled, your lips barely moving. Jungkook leaned down and pressed a slow, reassuring kiss to your temple, then 2 more along the curve of your jaw. Jungkook, you're not going, he whispered. Not with your foot like this. You need rest. You hummed in agreement, your fingers lightly tugging at the hem of his shirt. Yin. Then tell mom I'm staying here, you added. He reached over for his phone with his free hand and dialed your mom. You looked up at him quietly while the phone rang. He brushed your damp bangs back with his fingers just as the call connected. Jungkook, is Yin with you? Your mother's voice came through with concern. Jungkook, yes, Mrs. Sarah. I was just about to tell you. She's with me, he said gently. She's staying the night here. I'll drop her back home tomorrow. There was a pause, then a soft sigh. Okay, son. Just make sure she eats and sleeps properly. Take care of her. Jungkook, yes ma'am, he nodded, even though she couldn't see. I will. When the call ended, you didn't wait. You threw your arms around his neck and kissed him all over his face, his cheeks, his nose, his forehead, lips again and again. Jungkook, help, he cried dramatically, laughing. I'm under attack. Someone help me. I'm suddenly being attacked by my girlfriend. You burst into a real, belly-shaking laugh, and it was the most beautiful sound he'd heard all day. Jungkook, come here, he said between laughs, and cupped your face, kissing you back with just as much playfulness. You're so cute. You're so soft, so adorable. He buried his face in your neck again, the ends of his hair brushing your skin, and you squirmed with a laugh. Yin. Jungkook, stop. It tickles. He only responded by giving a gentle love bite on your neck, his new way of expressing affection. Yin, feed me, you whispered again, in a soft, spoiled voice. Jungkook, yes baby, he said, lifting the spoon again like it was his sacred duty. Here we go. You opened your mouth and he fed you, still holding you close like he never wanted to let you go. The soup slowly disappeared from the bowl, and the TV became white noise. His hand stayed around your back, his fingers gently tapping to a rhythm that matched your heartbeat to make you sleep. You weren't healed yet, but wrapped in his arms, fed with his hands, kissed with his lips. You felt safe enough to start again. This wasn't just comfort, it was love, pure and simple. The test paper lay open before you, but your eyes weren't truly reading. Your hand gripped the pen tightly, fingers white at the knuckles, yet the words on the page blurred together into meaningless shapes. Every few seconds, your gaze darted toward one person, Jungkook, 2 rows ahead. He sat upright, posture relaxed, writing steadily like nothing in the world could bother him. But you were bothered, badly. Something about him felt off. He hadn't told you where he disappeared yesterday. He came back in the evening, a little too quiet, a little too calm, avoiding your eyes like he was hiding something. You had tried asking, but all he said was, just had something to do. That wasn't enough. You were stuck between reading the questions and reading him. Neither made sense. Then, the classroom door swung open with a loud click and everyone flinched. A professor from another department walked in, his expression tense, voice unusually serious. Everyone, he said, raising his hand, pause your writing for a moment. I need your attention. The room held its breath. You lowered your pen and looked up, already dreading what was coming. The professor glanced around and spoke in a firm, clear voice. There's something serious I need to share. Yesterday was Sunday, and the campus was closed. No staff, no professors, minimal security. This morning, a child who lives nearby wandered into the old wing and found a student of your class, James, badly injured in classroom 204. The room stilled. Some students gasped quietly. Your body stiffened. A 204. The classroom, that classroom. There are no working cameras in that corridor, and none of the security footage shows James going in or anyone else. We don't know what happened or why he was there. He can't speak properly right now. His condition is bad. But, strange thing is, he's refusing to file any police report, not even a complaint. Your hand trembled slightly under the desk. Your eyes snapped to Jungkook again. He still didn't look up, still didn't blink. It was like nothing was being said at all. The professor looked around the room, searching every face. If anyone knows anything at all, about what happened, or why James was there, please come forward. This can't just be ignored. Silence. No one spoke, no hands raised. The professor sighed heavily, clearly disappointed, and left the room after muttering, "All right, continue with your exam." Your stomach twisted into knots. You stared at him, your lips parting slightly, your thoughts racing. You told him everything, every terrifying detail about what James had done. You told him the name, the room, and now James, the same James, is found there. It couldn't be a coincidence, could it? your throat tightened. The exam was resumed, but your focus was destroyed. You stared down at the paper, but nothing registered. Your foot tapped violently under the desk, your palms were sweaty, and every time your eyes moved to Jungkook, he was just there. No expression, no guilt. You kept looking at the clock, begging time to move faster. The second it struck 12 o'clock, you watched as Jungkook calmly stood up and walked to the front to submit his paper. More students got up to submit their papers, and you moved fast. You turned yours in, grabbed your phone, and spotted Jungkook handing his paper in two. Without a word, you walked straight to him and grabbed his wrist, firmly, and dragged him along with you. His head turned to look at you, a smile twitching on his lips. He didn't ask where you were taking him. He didn't ask what was wrong. He just walked with you, your hand wrapped around his, like he already knew, already expected this moment. You didn't stop until you dragged Jungkook all the way to the far corner of the university garden, the place where barely anyone came. The trees stood tall around you, shielding you from view. The university buildings were barely visible from here, which is exactly what you wanted. You needed privacy. You needed answers. Jungkook blinked, slightly out of breath but still wearing that maddening smirk that made it hard to tell what he was thinking. Jungkook, but baby, our car's that way. He pointed in the opposite direction, acting as if you'd just taken a wrong turn, but you spun around and faced him with sharp eyes, your chest rising and falling from the rush of emotions bubbling inside. Without thinking, you smacked your hand lightly against his chest, not to hurt, but enough to make him feel your frustration. Yin, where were you yesterday, Jungkook? His brows lifted slightly, a smile tugged at his lips, that same playful, dangerous curve that told you he wasn't going to give a straight answer right away. Jungkook, I was with you all day. Don't you remember? You took a deep breath and stepped closer, your voice trembling with more than just anger. Yin, you know what I mean. Don't play with me right now. Your eyes searched his face. Did you go to that classroom? Did you hurt James? Jungkook, please don't lie to me. He didn't say a word. Instead, he sighed and slipped his hand into his jacket pocket. You stared, your heartbeat thudding in your ears. Jungkook, well, I've got a gift for you. He pulled out his phone, swiped a few times, then turned the screen toward you. And that's when your breath left your lungs in a single, sharp gasp. The photo on his phone hit you like a slap to the face. James, bruised, bleeding, barely conscious. His face was barely recognizable, swollen eye, cuts across his cheek, and dried blood smeared across his collar. You immediately reached forward and slapped the phone down, hiding it between both of your bodies as if someone else might have seen it. Yin, Jungkook, you switched the screen off in panic. Are you insane? How could you even show me that? Wait, what if someone finds out? We could have reported him. We could have done it the right way. How did you even do this without being seen? Your voice cracked, panic rising in your chest, eyes searching his face. But Jungkook didn't flinch. Instead, he calmly wrapped his arms around your waist, pulling you against him like nothing about this was wrong. Jungkook, reported him? He chuckled darkly under his breath, voice low. Do you really think a spoiled little like him would have stayed behind bars? His family's got money and lawyers too. He would have walked out clean, maybe even laughed at you. He leaned his face closer, brushing his nose against your cheek. No baby, that wasn't enough. Jail would have been easy. What he did to you, his tone darkened. He deserved worse, so I gave it to him. You froze in his arms, heart racing. Jungkook, he to stop, but I didn't. Not until I saw the fear in his eyes, not until I heard every crack of his, not until I knew he'd wake up every single day remembering what it feels like to be hunted. You stared at him, trembling. You didn't know if you wanted to cry, scream, or collapse. You were terrified, but not of him hurting you. You were scared of how far he was willing to go for you, how calm he looked after doing something so dangerous. Jungkook, no one lays a hand on you and walks away. No one. You're mine, Yin. You're insane. Jungkook, you whispered, but he only smiled. He reached up, cupped your cheek with one hand, and leaned in to kiss your lips, slowly, softly, as if trying to wash away your fears with affection. Jungkook, I am Yin. I'm insane for you. You looked away, your heart pounding against your ribs, but when you looked up again, you saw something else in his eyes, not madness, not cruelty, but devotion, raw, fierce, and terrifying devotion. Jungkook, let's go to my home now. He nudged your nose gently. I'll call your mom, we'll have something to eat, and I'll cuddle you all day. Sounds good. He smiled with that boyish charm that used to melt your heart, as if he hadn't just admitted to nearly ruining someone's life. You nodded slowly. Yin, why yeah, but your voice shook, your chest still tight with unease. Jungkook noticed. He suddenly looked a bit guilty. Jungkook, come on Yin. Smile. Everything's okay now. He's gone. It's just us again. You looked up at him. Your lower lip trembled. Yin, promise me, you'll never do something like that again without telling me. Please. He nodded immediately, hand over his heart like a soldier. Jungkook, yes ma'am, I swear. I'll always tell you first. But deep down, both of you knew it was a lie. He'd do anything for you, even if it meant destroying someone again. And still, despite everything, you suddenly reached up on your toes and hugged him tightly, burying your face in his neck. Yin, I love you. Jungkook. He let out a soft hum, arms wrapping protectively around your back. Jungkook, I love you more Yin, more than anything, and I'll never let anyone hurt you again. And even though a chill ran down your spine at his words, it still made you feel safe, dangerously safe, and in his arms. Even though part of you was still shaken, another part felt undeniably his, completely his.